Hey everyone, it's Raj from 3CB. Today's video is going to focus on Lakers coach Darvin Ham and the team's management of minutes over the last 3 games, and then go into why it didn't make much sense to me and why it's a microcosm of Coach Ham's decision making over the last 2 seasons. On Saturday night, the Lakers beat the Warriors in a 1-point thriller that went into double overtime. And we saw a game, as we tend to do, between LeBron and Steph, where both teams and both players really stepped it up a notch. However, the downside, even though it was a great win, was that both LeBron and Anthony Davis, AD, played over 40 minutes of high intensity minutes. So then you're thinking, headed into a back-to-back Monday, Tuesday, maybe you'll see LeBron and AD, or one of them at least, get more load managed in that game, consider and give them an extra day off to be able to then get a better chance of playing on Tuesday. However, what happened is that both LeBron and AD played in that game. AD sat out the fourth, but then his adductor and hip tightened up on Tuesday, so he was unable to play versus the Hawks. LeBron also played, like I just said, but then played 37 minutes in that game, including the entire fourth quarter in a blowout, which just made no sense. You could tell he was gassed the following day versus the Hawks as well. You could make the argument that Monday's game versus Houston was more important because it's versus a Western Conference team. They're also going to be in contention for one of those final play-in spots, if not one of the final spots outside of the play-in. And so you want to play those guys. But you also have to look at what just happened on Saturday. And you have to also look one game forward and how playing in that game on Monday could impact not just availability for Tuesday, but the level of impact on Tuesday. And in both cases, LeBron and AD, it significantly negatively impacted that game. What made even less sense is the fact that you could see right away that the team on Monday just wasn't there. They're completely gassed, and it was basically a blowout from the first quarter onwards. So therefore, why not just kind of realize what's happening, all right? And then, don't cut off your nose to spite your face, and then get ready for Tuesday. In general, decision-making there and over the last 3 games has really been a microcosm, or at this point to say a macrocosm, in my opinion, of Coach Darvin Ham's decision-making, in that it's not fully looking at the risk-reward, and you're leaving so many details and margins getting killed due to these decisions. For example, he's still having Taurean Prince play with AD and LeBron, and Taurean Prince has by far the highest plus-minus differential, this time in a minus aspect, when playing with LeBron and AD, and that's still quite hard to do because usually playing with LeBron and AD, it gives you a heavy buffer in the positive. And so some of the decision making here going into games just hasn't made sense. And then further, within games, in-game decision making perhaps is even worse. We've seen it multiple times throughout his tenure. There's multiple times where you see guys get hurt throughout games and timeouts aren't called. They just let them kind of play through it, and it leads to negative outcomes. I distinctly remember last season when the Lakers played the Boston Celtics, AD played 12 minutes of the fourth, then the entire overtime, 17 straight minutes, and then he got injured the next game. He had a foot injury. No coincidence. It's a hugely fatiguing amount of time that you have to be able to adjust to and make these decisions in the moment. And Coach Ham hasn't really shown that, and he again showed that when he let LeBron play the entire fourth quarter. You have to make these decisions and be able to separate yourself, from the emotion of the moment and see the forest from the trees during when it's actually happening. He does a good job talking about it after the game, but There's so many times in the game where he's unable to recognize those moments. And this last series of 3 games, in my opinion, really reflects some of the poor decision-making prior games and in games. At this point, it's really become an unfortunate trend, and it's really impacting the team negatively to the point where you've had LeBron and AD play over 90% of games and the team is still under 500. That doesn't bode well at all for the team. In my opinion, doesn't bode well at all for Coach Ham's future with the team.